He sat across the phone like a man possessed, cold, calculated, furious. And then he said it, "I've already contacted immigration. You'll hear from them soon." With one sentence, Gino didn't just burn the bridge with Jasmine. He nuked the entire village. This wasn't a breakup. It wasn't closure. This was war. Welcome to TLC Drama Files. I'm Aliva. Subscribe if you live for jaw-dropping, messy love stories, and drop a comment right now if you think Gino finally snapped or just got played. Because here's the part that turns everything on its head. Jasmine is months pregnant with another man's baby while still legally married to Gino. And now that she's finally moved in with someone who she says understands her, Gino's gone from sad to savage. And he wants everything back. Every dollar, every visa received, every piece of his dignity itemized with interest. According to him, Jasmine owes him dollar, comma. He dropped that number like a courtroom sentence. She says he's lying. He says she scammed her way to a green card. She says he never even wanted to touch her when she landed in Michigan. And so, which one is it? A heartbroken man blinded by revenge or a scam survivor? Finally waking up. Let's rewind hours. Jasmine's relationship with Gino was already on life support when she landed in the US from Panama. But the moment she crossed state lines into Matt's life, everything blew up. She's been living with Matt, calling it an open marriage. But Matt's face tells a different story. This isn't open. Matt thinks it's exclusive, but not legally. Not yet. Because there's one tiny little missing piece no one can ignore. Jasmine never filed for divorce. Still legally hitched to Gino. She moved her pink suitcases into Matt's place. Got knocked up and now proudly calls herself wife material. She might be Alan with Matt emotionally, but technically she's still Gino's lawfully wedded mess. And Gino, oh, he's been lurking in the background, quietly watching Jasmine's new life unfold like a crime scene. No warning. No conversations, just one email. A brutal cold-blooded message of betrayal. Lined up with bullet points. FORTHEWDING, for the wedding. Terrence for the green card. FORVI for the visa. For time spent filing the paperwork himself, dollar, for a divorce lawyer, and the rest emotional damages dating back to Panama, and if she doesn't pay up, simple. He's going to immigration. Because, in his words, this was a scam from day one. Now, here's where things get darker than usual. Jasmine's pregnancy wasn't hidden. She's showing front and center on screen, on camera. Zero denial. So when Gino heard about it confirmed, visibly real, that's when his gears started turning, not curiosity, not sadness, it was strategy. What hurt him most? Was it the betrayal, the baby, or the fact that she finally found someone who did what he couldn't make her feel seen? Gino says it was all a lie. A long con carefully played. And now he wants every cent cashed in like receipts. But Jasmine sees it differently. She says she gave him love. Gino never even tried to return. The real question is if this was all an act. Who was the real director? Jasmine or Gino? Using the law as the final plot twist. And while Gino sharpens every detail for a legal hit, Jasmine's still building her future with Matt. But what Matt doesn't know yet could be more devastating than anything Gino's email ever said. Because falling for Jasmine while she's still married might not be his biggest problem. Staying with her while she's being investigated could ruin everything. What Matt thinks is love might be the start of his own immigration nightmare. And Jasmine, she Might already be lining up her next move. Before either man can stop her, Jasmine thought she had finally escaped the shadow of her past. But months into her pregnancy, she's sitting on a couch in Matt's house, still legally married to Gino and still invisible to Matt's family. Not one dinner, not a phone call, not even a casual mention. Matt says they need to take things slow. But time isn't exactly on her side. Her baby bump isn't waiting. And neither is the judgment coming if the truth gets out. See, Matt isn't just some random boyfriend. He grew up in a strict Romanian Christian household where sex before marriage is a sin. Babies out of wedlock are taboo. And women like Jasmine, loud, bold, emotionally real, are warnings, not wives. And even though his lips say, "I love you," his actions say, "But don't embarrass me." Jasmine's starting to put the pieces together. He won't take her around his mother. He won't introduce her to anyone who shares his last name. And now that she's visibly pregnant, the excuses have turned into full-blown cover-ups. He's making her hide her bump, soften her personality, dress modestly. She can't even mention the word baby before he starts panicking. So, when he says, "You'll meet my friend David instead," she grabs onto it. Finally, some kind of validation, a foot in the door. But what was supposed to be one friendly introduction became a public relations disaster. David walked into that meeting expecting a girlfriend. What he got? A pregnant woman months along, still married to someone else, openly talking about green cards, open marriages, and stress-induced diarrhea. Matt sat there, quiet, sweating, smiling. But David was already adding it up. Here's Matt, the good Romanian son, bringing home a legally married woman who's pregnant with his child. The math isn't matting, but Jasmine's honesty is the only thing on display. And instead of feeling proud, Matt looks cornered and more importantly ashamed. Is Jasmine finally realizing she's repeating the same mistake, letting a man erase her while pretending to love her? Because if this really is different from Gino, why does Matt still make her feel like she's something to hide? Her voice gets smaller every time she acts when she'll meet his family. His excuses get louder. Protecting her or protecting himself from the fallout. And if David's shocked face was any indication, Jasmine is no closer to being Matt's family than she was to being Gino's partner. But the difference this time, Jasmine's starting to feel it. And if Matt thinks this version of her will stay silent, he might be in for a disaster he can't smooth over with charm or church friendly lies. The second Jasmine stepped into that restaurant, the air changed. She wasn't just glowing, she was beaming. Bright red lipstick, a bump she wasn't hiding, and a voice that didn't ask permission. And across the table, Matt's friend David frozen. Mid-sip, eyes bouncing from Jasmine's stomach to Matt's cold sweat. The silence didn't last long. Jasmine ordered confidently, cracked a few jokes, complimented the Romanian bread. Then, like it was nothing, laughed. When I think of Romanians, I think of Dracula. And gypsies. Dead. Silence. David blinked. Matt choked on his water. And Jasmine clueless, still smiling. Romanian culture. Never call someone a gypsy. It's offensive. It's more than taboo. It's a full cultural landmine. But Jasmine had no idea. She thought she was being playful. Yet, the damage was already done. And Matt didn't say a word to save her. But David, he didn't react to her joke. He reacted to Matt's discomfort. This wasn't some fling. This was a pregnant woman with emotions, memories, and a legal husband still floating in the system. Then the big reveal came. "So, how'd you two meet?" Matt fumbled. "The gym." Jasmine looked him dead in the eye. "Oh, really? That's what you told him?" She turned to David. "He was chasing me around like a puppy. Said I did witchcraft on him." She laughed. David didn't. Matt looked like a man watching his own funeral. It didn't end there. Jasmine, unfiltered as ever, told David she was still legally married to Gino, the ex-boyfriend Matt already hated. And just when Matt tried to steer the conversation, Jasmine doubled down. She moved into Matt's house while still waiting for a divorce, and she's months pregnant with his baby. And the ending punch, I'm wife material, even though technically I still am someone else's. At this point, David wasn't judging Jasmine. He was judging Matt hard. Because how could Matt, the sensible, conservative, Jesus-loving golden boy, get into this chaos? David already knew Matt had a history of failed relationships. But this wasn't a messy girlfriend. This was full-blown liability. Matt tried to play it off as quirky, tried to downplay Jasmine's truth like she was just emotional. But when David asked, point blank, "So your family doesn't know anything about her?" And Matt fell silent. Jasmine's face collapsed. She realized in real time that she meant nothing to them. She wasn't family. She was a secret. And Matt, under pressure, did what he usually does. He smiled awkwardly, then said the thing that would break her. "This is my roommate." In that moment, David looked more disgusted with Matt than Jasmine ever could have imagined. The lies weren't unraveling fast. They were vaporizing, and Matt's carefully controlled silence finally worked against him. By the end of dinner, Matt pulled David aside and practically begged him, "Please don't tell my mom." David didn't say yes. He didn't say no. And when someone who knows your secrets walks out without giving an answer, you know something's coming. An email like that isn't written in one night. It simmers. It rots. It builds until there's nothing left but denim and numbers with dollar signs. Gino didn't just write a breakup note. He delivered a financial autopsy. And Jasmine didn't even know she was the patient. When she picked up the phone, she expected more petty nonsense. A insult here, a guilt trip there. But Gino had prepared something else. A professionally worded, emotionally dead, invoiced goodbye. He started reading it like a man reading a court statement. Flat, robotic, rehearsed. Not even a pause before line 1. "You used me to enter this country. You never loved me. You stabbed me in the back. Then came the math. I was an FORAWEDIN. GSHEDIDNETEVNWANTA. Wedding she didn't even want. For the green card processing FORTH. EVISAFORMS for the visa forms, for time, labor and stress related to paperwork. $, for a divorce lawyer. And the kicker, $. In total, an amount Jasmine nearly choked laughing at. In her words, "Where? You never even sent me that. You sent me cheap wigs and anxiety." But Gino wasn't cracking a smile. He wasn't fumbling. He wasn't even angry in the way she'd seen before. He was mechanical, like someone who already submitted the damage report to someone bigger. "I've already gone to immigration," he said flatly. "You'll hear from them soon." That's when Jasmine stopped laughing, because this wasn't a joke. For Gino, this was a legal chessboard. He was angling for revenge, not reconciliation. And his move, the one that could hurt her most, was making her look like her entire marriage was a lie, start to end. But Jasmine shot back. With the one weapon she had left. Her pregnancy. You wait until I'm months pregnant to say this. You wait until I've moved on. You've never shown me empathy and now you try to emotionally destroy me. Gino's reply, that baby's not mine and this marriage was never real. But what if Jasmine wasn't scamming Gino and Gino was just mad she moved on first? Because if you rewind the tapes, Gino's hurt had been brewing for months. From the moment Jasmine started distancing herself, he'd been trying to pull her back in by guilt, by promises, by memory. And when it all failed, he didn't let go. He doubled down. Now he wants reparations from her spirit, from her wallet, from her future. He's weaponizing the only system that still sees him as relevant, immigration. But Jasmine doesn't flinch. She says she never took from him, never promised anything beyond what they already shared. She claims she gave him love he refused to grow into. And now she's done being scared. Go to immigration. Go ahead. I've got nothing to hide. That's what she said. But the tremble in her voice, that single shake behind the defiance, said otherwise. Because even if she believes she didn't scam him, one phone call from Gino could still blow up everything. It always starts in little ways. A comment about her dress, a joke about her voice, a look when she laughs too loud in public. Matt never told Jasmine outright that he was ashamed of her, but he didn't have to. His silence was already doing the work. Back home, after that dinner with David, Jasmine could feel it. Something in her shifted. She'd gone in hoping for a crack in the wall. Instead, she left with confirmation she was on the outside of her own relationship. She was months pregnant, visibly, undeniably. But somehow still invisible. Matt didn't introduce her as his partner, his girlfriend. Nothing that sounded like love. The word he used roommate on camera, no less. And Jasmine didn't just hear it. She felt it crawl under her skin. That single word stripped her bare. More than any argument ever could because it wasn't a fight. It was a betrayal buried in politeness, a rewiring of truth. She wasn't carrying a miracle now. She was carrying a situation. Matt's family was the unseen third party in every room of the house. Every time she cursed, every time she rubbed her belly in public, every time she mentioned the baby, he'd wheeze. And not out of concern for her, but out of fear of what people would say if they found out. He said it was strategy. Timing, that they'd share the news when he was ready. But every week that passed, Jasmine could feel it. He wasn't protecting her. He was protecting himself. And the weight of it started crushing her. It started with sleep. She couldn't. Too many thoughts. Then came silence. Not his, hers. She started second-guessing everything she said. Maybe she was too much, too loud, too chaotic, too Jasmine. He told her to be more presentable before seeing David, to dress more appropriate. She nodded then. But now she was rewinding it in her mind. Rage building under her ribs. This baby was growing. Her belly was growing. But somehow she was still expected to shrink herself. And what Jasmine didn't say out loud, what she barely admitted to herself, was that she knew this feeling. It was the same feeling she had at the end with Gino. The same guilt, the same pressure to play small, the same cycle. Love bombing, hiding, judgment, rejection. Different man, same result. Because behind Matt's soft voice and live-in support came the fine print. Be my partner but don't become my burden. And Jasmine was starting to break. She cried in the bathroom more often. Stared at her reflection until she didn't recognize it. Body transforming, mind unraveling, and the man who made her feel chosen no longer even made her feel seen. If Matt genuinely wanted this baby, why was he hiding the mother? If he loved her so much, why was his biggest fear people knowing they were together? She felt watched but never protected, heard but never listened to. When she brought it up, Matt called her dramatic. "Don't make this a thing," he'd say. "Please, I just want peace right now." But peace for whom? For him, peace meant delay. For her, peace was visibility. Peace was being accepted, belly and all. And when she asked again, "When will I meet your family?" Matt shut down. Said, "Now's not a good time." Said, "They're too religious, too traditional, too fragile for all this drama." But Jasmine's mind was already made up. She wasn't going to be a secret. Not again. Not this close to motherhood. Because this wasn't about love anymore. It was about control. Matt wanted the baby. Sure. But he didn't want to explain how the baby got here. He didn't want to say out loud that he started a family with a woman who still had another man's last name. A woman with history, with emotion, with volume. This was never about Jasmine being too much. It was about Matt needing someone willing to be less. And Jasmine, she may be emotional, impulsive, stubborn, but she's not that woman. So when she said, "I'm done hiding," she didn't scream it. She whispered calm, decided it wasn't a threat. It was a vow. Matt didn't think she meant it. He smiled, kissed her forehead, and said, "We'll figure it out. Just wait a little longer." But Jasmine wasn't waiting anymore. What Matt didn't know, she already booked an appointment with a lawyer. She needed real answers about her visa, her options, her rights, not her reputation. Because she was done begging to belong. And if the man sharing her bed won't stand beside her in public, she'll walk into that delivery room alone before she lives another day as someone's secret. And yet, while she's planning her independence, Matt is already having discussions she doesn't know about with someone she never agreed to let in. What kind of future is he organizing behind her back? Because if Jasmine's finally choosing to show up, Matt might secretly be laying the groundwork to disappear. There's one thing about Gino that Jasmine never expected. He doesn't let things go. Whatever feelings were left between them have now calcified into something dangerous. And this time, he's not whispering insults behind block numbers. He's not sending sad emojis or passive-aggressive Venmo requests. He's speaking loud, direct, and straight down the camera. This was a scam. A marriage scam to the T. Gino dropped the line like he was reading it from an immigration website, word for word. And this time, he didn't care who was watching. Jasmine sat back, stunned. She'd heard this tone before. Sarcasm, guilt, shame. But now it was different. This wasn't about bitterness anymore. It was a full-blown attempt to destroy her. And right in the middle of her pregnancy, he pulled out receipts, claims, calculations. "I gave her over. $, I organized everything. The K visa, her green card, the whole damn wedding. And the second that green card came through, boom, she was gone. Living with someone else, snake behavior." Jasmine wasn't even blinking. She was locked in, listening, absorbing, trying to decide whether to respond like a woman heartbroken or a woman on trial. Because now it kind of felt like both. She'd always known Gino could be petty, spiteful, dramatic, but this was serious. This was going on record. And if Gino really did contact immigration like he claimed, And if he really submitted those claims, receipts and everything could come crashing down. Green card investigations take time, but they don't take sides. You could emotionally destroy someone and still file a valid complaint. You could be bitter and still be legally right. Jasmine fired back. You never loved me. You never wanted me to thrive. You wanted control. And the moment I started choosing myself, you switched from sad boy to psycho. Gino scoffed. You're pregnant with someone else's baby while still legally married to me. That's not choosing yourself. That's breaking the law. She bit her lip. Because technically he's not wrong. She hasn't finalized a divorce. She hasn't told immigration. She hasn't updated her status. Emotionally, yes. She's long gone. Legally, she's still Gino's wife. And what Gino's banking on is that the law won't care about love stories. What's scarier? The fear of deportation or the fear that the man you loved sees you as worthless paperwork? Because all Jasmine hears now is that their entire relationship means nothing to him. No memories, no kisses, no late-night calls, nothing. It's all transactional. Now with itemized bullet points like he's closing a business account, not a marriage. KFORTHEWDING. K for the wedding, for the green card process. FORVISAPROS. ESING. For visa processing, K. In time spent doing legal prep. Even $, for the divorce lawyer he hasn't actually hired yet. He expects every cent back. And if he doesn't get it, he says he'll make sure immigration understands what really happened. But here's the part even Jasmine's unsure of. Can he really do it? Yes. Gino filed the K visa and helped her enter the country. Yes, she left him after getting her green card. The timeline is suspicious. Jasmine admits that. But fraud is a big word with even bigger consequences. Emotionally, devastating, legally, complicated. Because proving immigration fraud isn't about who stayed and who left. It's about proving intent. It's about showing that Jasmine never had love for Gino, that everything she said, every kiss, every act was fake. And Jasmine's not willing to carry that label. Her voice cracks. You think I scammed you? Then go ahead, report me. I'll tell them everything I did for you. Emotionally, physically, legally, every sacrifice, every humiliation. I gave you my soul, and you're calling ice. But Gino's not moved. This isn't pain. It's ice-cold war mode. To him, Jasmine didn't move on. She played him. He gave her everything. And in return, she gave him a baby bump. That doesn't belong to him. In a house he can't enter with a man Matt who gets everything now. So when Gino says you'll hear from them soon, it's not a bluff. Or if it is, he's willing to go all the way pretending. Jasmine hangs up furious, but the storm's already been released. Not on her phone, not in her inbox, but in Washington offices where her name might already be flagged. She doesn't even know if she can defend herself yet. She wants to trust that immigration will understand love is messy. But when the facts read, still married and pregnant by another man in bold, love gets drowned out by policy. And Jasmine's worst fear isn't deportation. It's that no matter how much she loved him, Gino now sees her as something that should be removed. And the scariest part, what if Matt agrees, but just hasn't said it yet? The front door slammed so loud the picture frame rattled off the wall. Jasmine didn't even look back. Months pregnant, sweating through rage and regret. She stormed into the street like she was running from two different flames. Both of them lit by men she once called home. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she couldn't sit one more second in that house staring at Matt's face, pretending. Roommate could be rewritten into partner if she just waited long enough. Somewhere between the restaurant humiliation and Gino's public immigration threat, Jasmine stopped. Feeling like a woman. She felt like a transaction, a risk, a wild card someone needed to either control or eliminate. But tonight, as she walked alone under flickering street lights with her belly announcing her presence louder than any words ever could, something inside her shifted. Not confidence, not yet, but clarity. Who am I in all of this? Am I the snake like Gino says? Am I the embarrassment Matt can't name? Or am I finally the one honest enough to admit I messed up? But I still deserve to breathe. She sat on a bench, one hand on her stomach, the other wiping makeup-streaked tears. She thought about every choice that led here. Panama, the messages, the visa, the plane ride, the kiss that made her feel chosen, the words that promised forever, and the silence that followed when forever got inconvenient. Gino made her feel like a project. Matt made her feel like a secret. And maybe, just maybe, her biggest mistake wasn't either of them. It was letting herself be explained in terms of their comfort because she wasn't a fraud. She also wasn't perfect. But for once, Jasmine could admit the truth without flinching. She blurred boundaries. She jumped too fast. She loved men who never had to prove they could handle all of her. And now the baby inside her was kicking at the same world that's trying to erase her existence. Back at the house, Matt was pacing. Still playing the cool, quiet, non-confrontational guy everyone knew him as. But anyone who's ever loved a man like Matt knows still water doesn't mean peace. It means pressure. Unspoken, simmering, explosive. He popped open a cold beer. Tapped his fingers on the counter like a metronome. He wasn't worried Jasmine had left. He was worried where she might go next. Matt didn't fall in love with chaos. He fell in love with the idea that he could stabilize her, that he could be the calm to her storm. But now the pressure was too close, too real. Playing house with a woman whose legal baggage could ruin his family ties was starting to feel less like love and more like liability. Still, when Jasmine came back hours later, he didn't yell. He opened the door slowly, like a tired landlord. She didn't speak first, so he did. I was worried. No, you weren't, she said. Voice raw. You were relieved I was gone. Matt didn't deny it. Just looked at the floor. And silence filled the space where honesty used to live. I'm still married, she said. And I'm pregnant. You knew that. And still won't even say my name to your mother. Matt finally looked at her. You're hard to explain. There it was. The dagger out loud. I'm not a document, Matt. Then stop talking like one. That cracked something inside her. She wouldn't cry. Not again. But her voice wavered just enough to give her away. You think I'm loud? You should hear what it sounds like in my own head. He didn't say she was wrong because that's what hurt more. He wasn't defending her anymore. Maybe he never really was. And that's when Jasmine did something she hadn't done all season. She stopped trying to win. She dropped the performance, the logic, the charm. She pleaded. I don't want to be deported. I don't want my baby born in fear, in shame. I don't want to do this alone. Matt said nothing. Not a nod, not a sigh, not a twitch, just silence so brutal it echoed louder than an argument ever could. So Jasmine did what silenced Women do when desperation turns empty. She stopped begging. No more tears. No more reaching. No more pretending this relationship was anything more than borrowed time. And maybe that's what Matt wanted. Because the weirdest thing, he looked lighter. He didn't move toward her with guilt. He didn't reach across the room with comfort. He just picked up the remote and went back to watching. Something half loud, pretending this moment didn't change everything. But it did, because Jasmine's face didn't carry heartbreak anymore. It carried decision. She walked past him, picked up her bag. Didn't say goodbye, didn't need to. Whatever came next. At this point, she'd rather face it standing than stay soft in a house that couldn't even say her name. And just when it seemed like the drama peaked, Jasmine's past catches up again. But this time, it's not Gino or Matt who comes knocking. It's someone neither expected. And they're not here for forgiveness. She came looking for love. What she stumbled into was a legal minefield wrapped in baby pink. Jasmine never planned to be the cautionary tale. She wanted romance, security, a family. But instead, she's standing in the wreckage of two relationships, both built on quicksand. Both now pointing guns at her freedom. Gina waving marriage fraud threats like she ruined his life. Matt treating her pregnancy like a PR problem he can't spin to his church-going mother. And in the middle of it all, a baby that didn't ask for any of this, but is about to be born into the thick of it. Jasmine isn't innocent. She knows that she rushed. She blurred lines. She trusted too quickly and let that trust turn into silence. But if Gino thinks a green card is the only reason she ever picked him, he clearly forgot the years she spent waiting around for him to get off the couch and act like a husband. And if Matt thinks she'll stay quiet just to protect his image, he clearly doesn't know the woman he laid down with, or the mother his child is about to have. But maybe that's been Jasmine's crime all along, being too much woman for men who only wanted a version they could manage. Because love can be big. Love can be messy. Love can even hurt. But love can't be sponsored. Not like this. And now with Jasmine standing on the edge of motherhood, legal insecurity, and emotional burnout, her next move could either protect her or finish her. Especially now that an unexpected person from her past is about to resurface. Someone with receipts, resentment, and nothing to lose. And if you think Matt or Gino is Jasmine's biggest problem, wait until you meet her. In the next episode, we're pulling back the curtain on the woman Matt never wanted Jasmine to find out about, and the secret she's been sitting on might unravel his clean-cut image for good. Stay tuned, because things are about to go from complicated to uncontainable.